7. Things you'll regret doing in an automatic Toyota. Number 3. Costs you a transmission. On March 9, 2025, a man pulled into my bay in a Tacoma he had owned since it was new. He was not panicking. He was almost proud. He told me he had put 190,000 miles on that truck and never once touched the transmission because the dealer told him it was sealed for life. He said it like a man who had beaten the system. Then he mentioned the shifts had started feeling lazy, just a little, only when the truck was cold. And right there, before I even put it on the lift, I knew what was coming. Today, I am going to walk you through the 7 things that quietly destroy automatic Toyotas from the inside, and why almost every one of them is a habit you were never warned about, not because they are secret, but because the people who could warn you make more money when you do not know. Here is the thing about Toyota automatics. They are some of the toughest transmissions ever bolted to a truck. The Aisin units under Tacomas, Tundras, 4Runners, and the older Toyota crossovers will outlast the body if you let them. That is exactly the problem. They are so good at hiding stress that by the time you feel something wrong, the damage has already been compounding for years. A Toyota transmission does not scream. It whispers. And most owners never learn to listen until the repair bill is staring back at them. I have been turning wrenches for over 2 decades, and I can tell you the trucks that die early almost never die from bad luck. They die from good intentions, from owners who thought they were taking care of their vehicle, doing exactly what they were told, driving the way everyone drives. So let us go through it. 7 regrets. And pay close attention to number 3, because that is the one that does not just cost you money, it costs you the whole transmission. Number 1. Shifting before the truck has fully stopped. You're pulling into a parking spot, you're still rolling, just barely, maybe 1 mile an hour, and you drop it from drive into reverse to back in. Or you're in a hurry and you slam it into park before the truck has completely settled. It feels like nothing. The truck obeys. No noise, no warning. But inside that transmission, something just took a hit. An automatic does not have a clutch pedal. It changes direction using clutch packs and bands, friction surfaces that have to grab and hold spinning steel. When you ask it to reverse direction while the truck still has forward momentum, those bands have to absorb the entire fight between where the truck is going and where you just told it to go. Do it once, nothing happens. Do it every single day for years, and you are sanding those friction surfaces down a little at a time. Think of it like stopping a moving treadmill by grabbing the belt with your bare hand instead of hitting the off switch. The belt stops either way. Your hand pays for it. And park is worse. When you slam into park while rolling, the entire weight of the truck slams onto a single small pin called the parking powell. That powell is the size of your thumb. It was never meant to be a brake. Bend it or break it, and now your truck can roll away in park, and the repair means splitting the transmission open. Stop completely. Set the parking brake first, then park, every time. Number 2. Coasting in neutral to save gas. This one feels clever, which is exactly why it's dangerous. You're going down a long grade, you pop it into neutral, and you let the truck roll thinking you're saving fuel. Maybe your father did it. Maybe you've done it for years. It saves you nothing. On every modern Toyota, the moment you lift off the throttle going downhill while still in gear, the computer cuts fuel to the injectors completely. 0. You are already coasting on free momentum without using a drop. But the second you shift to neutral, the engine has to idle to stay alive, which means it starts burning fuel again to keep itself spinning. You didn't save gas. You spent it. And here's the cost. In neutral, your transmission's internal pump slows down, which means less fluid is moving through it to keep it cool and lubricated right at the moment the truck is rolling fast and the parts are spinning hard. You've also given up engine braking, so now you're riding the brakes down the hill, cooking them too. It's the rare habit that wears out two systems at once while saving you nothing. Leave it in drive. Let the truck do what it was engineered to do. Number 3. Trusting the lifetime fluid myth. This is the one that costs you a transmission. This is the big one. So slow down here. If you own a Toyota built in the last 15 or 20 years, it almost certainly uses what Toyota calls World Standard Fluid, ATFWS. And if you read the maintenance schedule, you'll notice something strange. There's no change interval. Toyota's own service bulletins say the fluid is inspect only and does not require flushing or changing during the life of the vehicle. Sealed for life. Fill it and forget it. Now here's the uncomfortable truth almost nobody explains. That phrase, lifetime fluid, does not mean what you think it means. It means the lifetime of the warranty. The engineers run durability testing long enough to clear the warranty period, and if the failure rate is low enough, they stamp it lifetime. What happens to your truck at 150,000 or 200,000 miles long after the paperwork expires was never the promise. You just assumed it was. And fluid does not last forever because heat does not care about marketing. Every time that transmission works, it generates heat, and heat is what slowly breaks the fluid down. The detergents wear out. The friction additives that let the clutches grab cleanly degrade. The fluid darkens, thins, and loses the exact properties the transmission depends on. The clutches start slipping a hair. Slipping makes more heat. More heat breaks the fluid down faster. It is a spiral, and it is silent. And by the time you feel a shudder or a hard shift, the inside of that transmission is already full of worn-off friction material grinding through the system. Here's the cruelty of it. A drain and fill on a Toyota costs you maybe a couple $100 and a few quarts of genuine fluid. A rebuilt transmission costs you $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. The man in the Tacoma at the start of this video, his fluid came out looking like burnt coffee, 200,000 miles, never touched. The shifts weren't lazy because the truck was old. They were lazy because the fluid had been dead for years and the clutches were finally starving. Do not wait for a symptom. On these trucks, a drain and fill somewhere around every 60,000 miles, sooner if you tow or live somewhere hot, is cheap insurance against the single most expensive repair on the vehicle. Lifetime was never a gift. It was a gamble, and the house was never you. Number 4. Towing or hauling heavy in overdrive. This is a truck channel, so this one matters. You hook up a trailer, load the bed, and you drive exactly the way you always drive, top gear, low engine speed, trying to save fuel. On flat ground at steady speed, your Toyota can usually handle that. The trouble starts the moment the road tilts. When you are loaded and you hit a grade, an automatic in overdrive starts hunting. It shifts up into overdrive, cannot hold the load, drops back down, climbs again, drops again. Each of those shifts is the clutches grabbing and releasing under heavy load, and each grab generates heat. On top of that, when you lug a loaded truck at low engine revolutions per minute in too high a gear, the engine is not spinning the transmission pump fast enough to push cooling fluid through the system. So you have more heat being made and less cooling happening at the exact same time. Heat is the #1 killer of automatic transmissions, full stop. Fluid that runs too hot for too long is fluid that is dying early, which loops you right back to number 3. That is why your truck has a tow mode, or on older models, an overdrive lockout. Tow mode holds lower gears, keeps the engine revolutions per minute up, locks the torque converter sooner, and stops the hunting. Use it. It is not a comfort feature. It is a survival feature for your transmission. Number 5. Driving it hard before the fluid is warm. Cold. Morning. You start the truck, and 10 seconds later you're on the highway on ramp with your foot in it. Feels fine. The engine is running, so what's the harm? Cold transmission fluid is thick. It does not flow the way it does when warm, which means in those first few minutes, parts inside the transmission are not getting the full film of fluid protecting them. Demand maximum effort from cold, thick fluid, and you are forcing metal to work hard before it is properly cushioned. This is the same reason you do not redline a cold engine. The transmission deserves the same patience, and almost nobody gives it any. You do not need to sit there idling for 20 minutes. Just drive gently for the first mile or two. Easy throttle, let the fluid come up to temperature, then drive however you want. 2 minutes of restraint protects parts that cost thousands. Number 6. Holding the truck on a hill with the throttle. You're stopped on an incline, maybe at a light on a slope, maybe backing up a boat ramp. Instead of using the brake, you hold position by feathering the gas, letting the engine push against gravity to keep you still. What you're actually doing is called brake torquing, and it's brutal. The transmission is trying to drive the truck forward while the truck isn't moving, which means all that energy has nowhere to go except into the torque converter, where it turns straight into heat. You're basically using your transmission as a furnace to fight gravity. A few seconds is fine, but people do this for full minutes on a steep ramp, and the fluid temperature climbs fast. Use the brake. That's its whole job. If you're on a serious grade, use the parking brake to hold while you wait. Let the brakes fight gravity. They're built for it, and they're cheap. The transmission is neither. Number 7. Topping off with the wrong fluid or driving through an early shudder. 2 final mistakes, and they're cousins. First, fluid. If you or a quick stop shop ever needs to add transmission fluid, it has to be the right one. Toyota's WS fluid is a specific low viscosity formula, and Toyota's own bulletins flatly warn that substitute, or so-called compatible aftermarket fluids, can cause shift problems and damage internal components. That generic jug that says it works in all imports is not the same thing. Wrong fluid changes how the clutches grab, and the damage does not show up until it is expensive. Use genuine WS, or a fluid certified to that exact spec, nothing else. Second, and this ties the whole video together, the earliest sign of transmission trouble on these trucks is usually a faint shudder, a tiny hesitation, a shift that is just slightly off when the truck is warm. Most people feel it and decide to wait and see. They drive through it. Every mile they drive through it, the worn material spreads through the fluid and the damage accelerates. That early shudder is the cheapest warning you will ever get. Caught at the shudder, it is often just a fluid service. Ignored, it is a rebuild. The truck told you. You just had to be willing to listen. So here's where it all comes together. None of these 7 things are exotic. There's no rare defect, no hidden recall, no factory flaw. Every one is a normal habit done by a normal owner who was never told better, often by the same dealer who would rather sell you a transmission later than a drain and fill now. A fluid service doesn't look impressive on an invoice. It doesn't sound like expertise, so it gets skipped, and the silence gets sold to you as reliability. But you're different now. You know the truck whispers instead of screams. You know lifetime means warranty, not forever. You know heat is the enemy and patience is the cure. And you know that the most expensive transmission repair is almost always the one you could have prevented for a couple $100 and a little attention. Take care of these 7 things, and a Toyota Automatic will genuinely run past 300,000 miles without drama. That's not a myth. That's what these trucks were built to do, if you let them. If this changed how you think about your truck, hit that like button so more Toyota owners see it before they learn the hard way. Subscribe if you want weekly breakdowns that put you back in control of your own vehicle. And if you've ever been quoted for a transmission you suspect you didn't need, drop it in the comments, because those stories help every owner watching. Your truck has way more life left in it than anyone told you. Now you know how to protect it.